guys, Marco the dog trainer here. Today we're going to be doing a video that's a little bit different than what I typically do. I wanted to do a quick video just to go over common questions and concerns about electronic collars or e-collars, because I do think that one of the most important aspects of using this type of equipment is understanding it. Okay, so I decided today I was going to bring my pack out. So we've got Enzo the Poodle here. We've got Forrest the German Shepherd. I've got Cosmo the Terrier. Okay, and then I've got Bosco the Pit Bull back here. Okay, so that's my pack. Now, let's get to it. So the first thing that we should probably clarify is what is an e-collar? So when I am using the term e-collar, I am talking about an electronic collar, meaning that it is battery powered in order to function. So it's usually remote based. People call them remote based correction collars, something kind of like that. Now, again, like I said, I want to use this very, very specifically or clarify this is that this is electrical in the sense that it uses a battery to function. It is not sending an electrical current through our dogs. Okay, we're not electrocuting them. I can't speak for every brand of collars out there, but the one that I use, Dogtra, the one that I'm always kind of recommending, it's really more of like a TENS unit than anything. So if you've ever hurt your back and you've used those kind of stickers that you put on your muscles that are connected to wires and it just kind of flexes your muscles, okay, it's the same exact technology as that. So that's why these collars are waterproof, is because they're not sending an electrical current, where obviously anything electric, you don't want that anywhere near water. Okay, so the term shock or shock collar can be a little misleading and it actually makes it sound a little more aggressive than it really is. Okay, now another kind of note that's good to clarify is that sometimes people are talking about these when they're talking about e-collars. And I believe this is pronounced an Elizabethan collar, and short for that is e-collar. And this is more so for like vet, we're getting our dog neutered or spayed, or they have some kind of wound that we don't want them licking. I've just seen articles that are talking about e-collars, and I, at first thought it was talking about an electronic collar. And as I was kind of getting into it, I realized they were actually talking about the cone. So just make sure if you're doing any research or anything like that, just be aware of that, because there were a couple times that actually caught me off guard. So now, before I kind of get into some questions here, I want to just start with my kind of caution that I've talked about in other videos, but I figured I'll just kind of elaborate a little bit here. So the first thing I always talk about with my type of training when I'm working with clients is that, like I said, this training is very misunderstood, and people think that we're trying to train dogs to be afraid to defy us. And that, in my opinion, is how unprofessional trainers do it. Fear is a terrible, terrible motivator. Okay, so I use the term trust-based training. So for me, if we use this stuff appropriately and we know what we're doing, we're kind of helping our dogs understand that that they should be listening because we're trying to take care of them, because we're trying to protect them. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're kind of operating in fear-based territory, probably more times than not. So meaning that, again, our dogs are afraid to defy us. Now, the scary thing about it is that most people aren't even going to be able to recognize that their dog is listening out of fear, not out of trust. So that's why, like, I don't post videos explaining how to train dogs and stuff like that, because I really think that every case is very, very unique. And I think that there's a lot to be said about the hands-on interaction with the dog to make sure you understand what that particular dog needs and when they need it and how they need it. So that's why the first thing I always tell people about these types of collars is that I would recommend finding a professional and reputable trainer with a good track record and good reviews to help you through the process of introducing any type of advanced equipment. Okay, so basically, if kind of comparing this to like cars, if you know how to drive, cars are fantastic, right? But if you don't, you probably shouldn't be behind the wheel. Okay, so that's kind of my caution that I talk about with electronic collars. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's kind of get into some of these other questions. Okay, so the first big question is, are e-collars good for dogs? Okay, so again, a little bit of a loaded question, because There's a lot of different training techniques out there, and most trainers are not agreeing with each other. So that's why I'm not really here to tell you that one is the best and you don't do this. And, but I'll just give you my general input. Okay. So some trainers are using food or treats as a motivation. Some are using verbal or physical praise. Some are using a toy of some sort as a kind of drive for reward. Some people are using electronic collars, and some are kind of using a combination of these different things. Now, I just feel with my experience that going the electronic collar and physical praise route and things kind of like that, I think just tends to give us the most consistent results. Where some of the other techniques out there just have a lot of limitation around like certain environments and certain distractions and certain situations. So if everything is used properly and we've really taken the time to lay the groundwork before we introduce our electronic collar, I think that you're probably going to get the most reliable and consistent results with this type of equipment. Now, this kind of leads into the next question, which is, do electronic collars work for training dogs? Okay. And they, again, it comes back to the way that we use it and the way that we lay our groundwork and the way that we introduce it. But I have had multiple clients that have been to 3 dog trainers before they came to me. And I was the first trainer that was actually able to help them. And so I do feel that all of this type of stuff, if it's used properly, it will probably give you, very, very strong results. But like I keep saying, the electronic collar is not something you just get and just put it on your dog and just start hitting the button for things that they're doing wrong. Like there's a lot of work that goes into it, where I kind of recommend starting in phases that you're kind of working up to it, and eventually you kind of plug the electronic collar into a training that already exists. Okay, now but on the flip side of this, okay, so let's say you're just trying to put this stuff on and you really don't know what you're doing. I have seen lots of people that don't have good results with electronic collars. So again, that's why I'm going to recommend that you guys find some type of trainer with a good track record to help you guys through the process of introducing this, to make sure that you're maximizing what you can get out of it. Okay, and now the last question that I really want to talk about is when to use an electronic collar. So for me, I don't really consider dogs fully trained until they can come when I call them, because that is just really, really a crucial piece of any dog's education. So when we're trying to get dogs to come back to us, like recall training, we're usually off leash in a real life scenario. So the electronic collar, that is actually one of the best applications for it, is teaching our dogs to come back when we call them. So if you're looking for any type of come command or recall, you definitely are probably going to be looking into electronic collars for the most part. Now, another kind of situation or area that I may excel using an electronic collar is dogs that are just really, really excitable or have a really, really high drive for work or for play or something kind of like that. That for dogs that just get very, very excited, people kind of forget that these dogs are bred to do specific things. And a lot of times what they're bred for can kind of override our training and the things that we're trying to get them to do. So the electronic collar just can work as a really, really helpful tool to kind of cut through that excitement and that drive, to help make sure that our dogs are still paying attention to us and able to follow direction around, new things and environments and things like that. So, outside of that, that's really just the main questions I kind of wanted to go over today. If you guys are looking into, electronic collars and you don't know where to start, I'm going to post some videos at the end of this video for you guys to check out that can help kind of point you in the right direction. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.